Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are going to be doing a deck profile and a deck update of a deck that is very near and dear to my heart, especially back when I played a lot more competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is my Mermail deck. This is one of those resilient decks, man. Like before we had BA, and BA is popping up here and there was Mermail. Because Mermail always popped up, and even to this day it still pops up here and there, topping out of regionals, topping out of locals, because it's just that resilient of a deck, and there's always new support, new strategies, always to build around Mermail Atlanteans. That's why nowadays, even though we call it Mermail Atlanteans, it's pretty much water dot deck, because that's what it's become. But still, I believe it's a fun deck to play, and I've always loved and enjoyed playing it. I played it at multiple locals, multiple regionals throughout the years. There are a couple deck profiles on this channel in the past of me talking about this deck, but I haven't profiled it in a while because the last year or two it's been kind of, there's new support coming out where things got banned, and then Master Rule 5, and it's just one of those decks that got caught on the middle, and I was like, okay, let me wait for things to settle down, put it on the back burner. But I'm so glad I get to profile this deck for you guys today. So, without further ado, let us get to this deck profile. This deck that, like I said, guys, I've played this deck multiple locals, regionals, and YCSs throughout the years. It was one of those decks that I always enjoyed playing. And it's still good even to this day. So first we run 3 Abyssland. I actually like the secret version of this card better than the ultimate rare version. I don't know why, I just do. Go figure. Probably because most of my Mermails are secret rare in this deck. But definitely a really good card. You start one of your just basic combo extenders that can help get effects off in grave, get things set up in grave, and also be a searcher as well. So really an essential card for the deck, and an amazing staple 3-of in the deck as well. Next we run double Abyss Megalo. There are some people out there, and I want to mention this too as I go into this deck, that still like running 3 Abyss Megalo. I've even seen some people run it as a 1-of, and that depends on your variation of how you're taking this deck. The one thing I would like you to please keep in mind is, especially if you've played Mermail and you're just seeing what I'm playing with and you may be playing it a little bit differently, is everybody plays their Mermail Atlantean deck maybe just a tad bit different than everybody else. I've seen it 1,000 times. It's very rarely do I see exactly identical card for card, every Mermail deck being exactly the same. It's very rarely, unless back in the day when it was topping consistently. But for me personally, going back to Abyss Megalo, I like him as a 2-of because he's your OTK playmaker of the deck. And he can really put in a lot of pushes and help you put in a lot of damage to win games. So I like him as a 2-of. I've had these first eds forever, but definitely a staple in the deck still, even to this day. Next up we run, for your 1-of Mermails, we run 1 gun, which can help get things back from grave, as you guys know, and also 1 pike. There are other cards and Mermail cards you could run in the deck, one of them being Mermail Abyssland. This is something that initially, back when I was playing this deck a lot, about a year ago, I ran a Dine in the deck. But when I rebuilt the deck, after the ban list came out, about a week or two ago, and even before then when I was playtesting it, I was not running Dine anymore because I found that there was new cards, that were a little bit better than Dine. But like I said, different players may still run Dine. Every Mermail deck is just a tad bit different than everybody else's. But me, Pike, and Abyssland, gun is good. I've seen some people even recently still run 2 gun. I like 1 gun, but that's up to you and your playing style. Next we run 3 Atlantean Dragoons. I have 1 ultimate rare because I pulled that out of an OTS pack when I topped with this deck many years ago. Actually, I think that was an Astro pack. I forget which one, but I remember it was an old Astro pack that this guy got the ultimate rare treatment. I topped at the locals, I pulled it. That's how I got this bad boy. So yeah, 3 Atlantean Dragoons in the deck. He is your searcher for your Atlanteans and just about everything else in the deck. Amazing card. I'm kind of happy Konami made a common rare print of him in a recent pack, because he really needed it. I had a lot of people who were talking to me and they were trying to build this deck for fun about a year or so ago when a lot of stuff got reprinted, and they were like, oh my gosh, some of these cards are really expensive. I'm like, yeah. And so I'm happy he's just got a basic reprint now, just not locked off as an ultra rare and a super rare from a structure deck that's very old. So yeah, 3 Atlantean Dragoons, staple, love the ultimate rare. Next up, we run Atlantean Neptune, as well as a 3 of. We run him because he's really good in the deck, and he's one of your starter cards of the deck, so to speak, as well. Him, a Dine, I guess you could say Diva, Deep Sea Diva, or Dine as I call it, is pretty much some of your initial starter cards for the deck, because usually you're discarding things in graveyard to get set up for these cards, these starter cards, so to speak. So he's one of those cards. And he can also still facilitate some OTK plays in the deck, not as much as he used to, but he's still very good. You just got to watch out for things that can stop him. But 3 Neptune Atlantean Pike. Next, we run 3 Heavy Infantry. Now, I'm going to talk about this for a second because people may be wondering where I'm running Pike. And this is something I've just noticed a little bit more in this current format. Now, I will state this. Usually, in the past, I've run double Heavy Infantry and 1 Pike. And depending upon the matchup, depending upon the deck I was facing, I would maybe switch out a Pike with a Heavy Infantry, just depending upon the format, etc. Now, this is a decision pretty much over the last week and a half after the ban list came out, where initially, before this video, and what is going to be 2 Heavy Infantry and 1 Pike, which I had always run. However, after playtesting online and talking to some buddies of mine just about what they were seeing with the newer format, there was a situation where they were seeing a lot more heavy trap-based decks running around. Don't know why that's the case. Maybe that's just the area I live in. Maybe that's just the format that 5 of my friends and I were facing, a lot more heavier-based trap decks. So I ran Infantry instead as a 2 of instead of the Pike. But like I said, you can go whichever way you want. I would definitely suggest, if you don't like 3 Heavy Infantry, for getting rid of that back row, and he's just a good card in general, maybe you run 1 Pike and 2 Heavy Infantry. That's up to you. I've even seen, and one of my buddies, he was playing this deck along with me, playtesting, he was running 3 Heavy Infantry and 1 Pike. I don't know if that's the greatest idea, but I'm going to leave into your hands to decide which ratio of those you would want to run. But that depends upon the format. Pike and Infantry have always been that type of card where it just depends on the format and what's being played a lot. Right now I'm seeing a lot more heavy traps, face-down traps, not, face-up stuff, so Atlantean Heavy Infantry. But that could change on a dime. Next, we run 3 Swap Frog and 1 Rodent Totem. Please keep in mind about this, now that we have Toad back at 2 of, this is the reason why I really like the water engine. Initially, I had cut this after Toad went to 1 of, then I went back and I decided to put this engine back in because it's a good engine. Yes, your Atlantean stuff will not trigger off Swap Frog, but it's good starter stuff. It gets waters engraved. Overall, it's just a really good thing, and Toad's an awesome card. Now we have Brahmin Shark, so yeah. So I really like this engine for the different kind of plays it can do in the deck and the things it can set up for. So that's why I still like it. I wouldn't run a Dupe Frog anymore. That's something I did try in the past. I'm not a fan of it really in this build of the deck, but I still like 3 Swap and run Rodent Totem in the deck. And ever since this, Toad came back to 2 of, I've really enjoyed it. So this is just me making a decision, with this now that we have cards off the list. Next, we run 3 Deep Sea Diva. I know it's a super rare. I used to run the super rare, but I really like this Duelist Saga rarity of it. So, just saying that off the cuff. But Deep Sea Diva is amazing. I really like I said, this deck always gets new support every year in some way, shape, or form. And this past year, with water support, we got the Diva archetype into the deck, which is really nice. The one thing I've always loved about this deck is how it's evolved over time from a powerhouse to maybe a little bit control element to an OTK playmaker to now it can do synchros, exceeds, link monsters. It can do just about everything. It's a very toolboxy type of deck, which I've always enjoyed. But 3 Deep Sea Diva help you go for synchro plays, helps you can even go for link plays in some instances. Just a great card to have and awesome to have in the deck, and I'm glad that she's back at multiple. And it's so cool to play her in this deck, and I love this rarity to boot. So there we go for that. Next we run 3 Deep Sea Maestra. Now this is one that I've seen different ratios of people play. I really enjoy the card. I really like the card. You know, taking a look at your opponent's hand, getting rid of some hand traps is really nice. With this card, that's what it can do for you. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide the ratio. I've seen and talked to buddies of mine that run this as a 2 of instead of a 3 of. I like it as a 3 of, but that's up to you to decide. Really good for getting rid of hand traps. For your just tuners in general, we got Lapis Dragon. This is beside your Deep Sea Diva tuner, but Lapis Dragon and also Fishbowl Blaster. This is to help go for needle fiber combos and just basic other stuff, synchro plays in the deck, which you do have access to a lot more now that we have some better water synchro monsters. So these are just there for that reason. Nice little cards to have in the deck. So Fishbowl Launcher and Lapis Dragon. Next up, we got our Hand Loop Boy, our Moulin Glacier, the Elemental Lord. We run Moulin Glacier in the deck. It is essential for your Hand Loop combo, which you can still pull off in this deck. So definitely the one Moulin Glacier, Elemental Lord. Hand trap wise, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, depending upon how you, this is how can I say this properly? It depends how you build your Mermail deck. I find that Mermails are a very nice going second base deck for the ability to do things like OTK and things of this nature. Saying that, I do know there are some, and I don't know how true it is, but I have met a lot of Mermail players that like going first with their Mermail deck because of the fact that they want to build a control-based board. Different playing styles, different players. If that's the case, maybe you do run Ash. Ash is a really great going second card in this deck to set for an OTK possibly. And the fact that I like going second with this deck to some degree is why I'm running Ash, because I can negate stuff, get rid of stuff, and then after that, what I can do is I can just go for an OTK, or if I've slowed them down enough, I can maybe make a board and make a push. You know, the push and pull of a duel can go back and forth sometimes. Even nowadays, even though things are much more faster than they used to be, there's still that push and pull, and some games can be a little bit more grindier than others. Next, 3 Deep Sea Aria. I know if I was, so forgive me if I wasn't explaining that fully, my mindset with the Ash Blossom, but moving on. 3 Deep Sea Aria, amazing card for this deck for what it can do. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Great card. Just great card. 2 Moray of Greed. I've never been a fan of 3 Moray of Greed. Why is that? Well, I'm not going to go into a long tangent, but let's say there was a regionals that I bricked with the card. I won the game, but there was a 2-game stretch in 2 different rounds where I bricked with double Moray of Greed. And after that tournament, I said I am never, ever running Moray of Greed as more than a 2 of, and I've never looked back. And that was years ago, and it's never bricked. I found that 3 of Moray of Greed bricks. I don't like it. That's up to you to decide. Maybe you want to run 3. Me, I just like 2 Moray of Greed. That's just me. So 2 Moray of Greed, it's really good in the deck. I don't like it in all water decks, but in this one it's fine. For your 1-of spells, we run Abyss Scale of the Kraken. The Kraken. 1 Call by the Grave. This is just good in case they have hand traps. It's Call. And 1 Upstart Goblin. Now there are other cards you can run in the deck that are optional. I talked about some other Mermail cards earlier you could run, but you can run Monster Reborn if you want to make this deck a more combo-oriented deck, and then you can revive stuff. I've seen people run Infinite Impermanence in their builds if they want to go for more of a control element. It's up to you to decide how you want to build this deck. But this is just my ratio of what I've been running. No traps. It's been working pretty good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I thoroughly like it. So let us now move on to the extra deck, guys, for this deck. So for the extra deck, I forgot where I put it. We run 1 Mermail Megalo, Abyssland, the big the big boy himself. Always love this card as an ultimate rare. Abyss Dweller, staple 1-of. Bahamut Shark, I'll get a secret one of these days. I have my old gold rare, but Bahamut Shark back, and 2 Toads, because Toad is at 2-of. Now, why do we run 2 Toads, not 3? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. You're usually going to make 1 off of your frogs and 1 using your Bahamut Shark combo, so you have access. So that's why we're running double Toad. For your synchros, we're running Ravenous Crocodilian Archivius, this big crocodile boy. 1 Emancipator Rise Dragon. Really like this card. Good card. 1 Coral Sea Dragon. Still like this in the deck. And your 1 Deep Sea Prima Donna. Some people like running Prima Donna. Some people do not. It's up to you to decide on that aspect. For your other cards we run in the deck, we run, for your links, Link Karibo, which is decent in the deck for certain things. Crystal Needle Fiber Hawkry. You guys know what this card is, right? The staple Mermail Abyssland. Great link card. We also run Marince's Core Ammonia. Some people like running Ammonia as a 1-of and 2-of, and I get why you run it as a 2-of. Like, I understand your mindset. But me, because I was trying out with different cards in the deck and I wanted to make it a little bit more versatile, I decided to run it as a 1-of instead of a 2-of. It's really good because Ammonero is really good, and I understand why people run it as a 2-of, because if your board gets broken, then you can go back into this card can help you recover. So, saying that, feel free to run it as a 2-of. But I have other cards that I have access to, so that's why I decided to run it as a 1-of. So 1 Blackluster Soldier of Chaos, and also 1 Access Code Talker. So that is the deck profile in a nutshell. Access Code Talker helps you break boards. Blackluster Soldier of Chaos, it's a great card. If you own it, go right ahead. I'd suggest, if you don't own either one of these, you could run a Bull Sword Dragon and a 2nd Marince's Coral Ammonia. That's my suggestion there for you guys there. However, I really enjoy this deck, like I said. I hope I gave some good explanations. I don't want to spend time going over combos because this video is long as it is. But, like I said, guys, I really enjoy this deck, and it's fun to play. And everybody out there plays their Mermail Atlantean deck a little bit differently with their cards, their ratios, and everything. This is what's been working for me. Tell me your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. Hopefully this was insightful for anybody out there that's just wanting to get into this deck. So, yeah, guys. Till next time, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. And go Atlantean Mermails. Take care, everybody. Good luck dueling to all of you.